Beats Media presents the Scoop and Score Football Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Scoop and Score Football Show, brought to you by Ball and Beats Media. You know what you guys need to do before we get into this? You guys should subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? You should hit that push notification bell to stay up to date on all new videos here, as we're going to continue to pump out more content here for you. Spencer, sir, we had a week off.
We did.
How was Northern Michigan?
It was great, beautiful. Weather was really nice. The water was really nice. It was really good.
There you go. Yes, sir. And hey, I got new glasses on now. I got a haircut. I'm a year older since we last recorded.
Good, buddy. Yeah.
You know. So
happy belated birthday.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. You know, the casino did not treat me well, but that's okay. That's fine. You know, it's okay though, because you will eventually cash out someday. You know, you'll eventually cash out and break the bank at some point.
Eventually beat the casino.
I don't condone being a degenerate or go gambling, but you know, if you want to, that's up to your own discretion. You know, today we got a busy day. We have a good amount to talk about. We're starting our NFL division breakdowns here. We're starting with the whole AFC today. Later on in the show, we're also going to have our college football playoff prediction. We're not going fully in depth with it, but we're going to predict our teams that make the playoff coming into this year. Let's start off here with our NFL breakdowns and divisions. I want to start with the AFC East because I feel like it's pretty set in stone who we think will be the number one team in the AFC East. I don't think anyone questions it. I was thinking Dolphins too, or the Jets, but it's really the Buffalo Bills because, I mean, Josh Allen, MVP, right? You know?
Yeah, the Bills are going to win it again. I have their worst case scenario record at 10-7 and best case scenario at 14-3. The Bills will be good every year with Josh Allen. And they have a decent roster. Not an amazing roster, but they have a decent roster around them.
My one question mark is their wide receiver depth and if it can continue to get better. If Keon Coleman can step in and become like a wide receiver one for them, as they don't have Amari Cooper this year. Amari Cooper still actually hasn't been signed by anybody. But
him and Khalil Shakir.
I mean, they have a lot of wide receiver depth. They have a lot of depth of guys here in training camp. They have a guy like Curtis Samuel. They had other receivers. I'm trying to remember.
You don't have a number one receiver, but you have a bunch of solid receivers that can get the job done.
Yes. My worst case scenario is also 10-7. I don't see them being any worse than that. My prediction, I think, is going to be 13-4 because my best case is 14-3. I'm going 13-4. I think Buffalo's easily winning the AFC East this year. They had the second best offense last year in the NFL. And another thing, James Cook, he's signed his extension, and he broke out last year.
Yeah.
You know, it was not.
He's an underrated running back. A lot of people don't talk about. He's a workhorse
for the longest time. Yeah,
a really good power back, and he's great right next to Josh Allen. They both at the goal line are unstoppable, whether it's Josh Allen or James Cook.
For the longest time, it was a question mark.
Exactly, and they finally got that running back answer with James Cook, and I expect him to, probably get, 1,200 rushing yards again this year. He'll have a really good year with Buffalo.
Number 2, I think a lot of people are slamming his desk over there. Number 2, I think a lot of people are pretty high on this team this year, and I think a lot of people expect them to take a step forward. Got the New England Patriots finishing second in the AFC East this season. I mean, it's a big year for Drake May. He's got to take that next step. There's a lot of sophomore slumps out there. He's got to be one that really takes the next step. They spent a lot of money in free agency, specifically on the defensive side of the ball, bringing in a guy like Milton Williams, who just won a Super Bowl with Philadelphia. My biggest question is, it's not really a question. I think we both have faith in this guy. I think Travion Henderson's going to come in and prove that he's going to be their best running back. Ramondre Stevenson, he's been very hit or miss for him. And, I mean, he's not really been a true running back one.
No. He hasn't really been that good. I mean, he's been okay.
Yeah.
He's shown signs of promise, but he's never taken that next step. And that's when it's like, okay, we need a new running back that can do that. Travion Henderson was very good all 4 years at Ohio State. Was a 5-star prospect out of Virginia, and he, you know, did his work and he did it well.
Yes.
Came back like everybody else, and it worked out. He won the national championship, and I think that him going to New England is perfect because I think he will start. Him and Drake May, I think they can build something there between a second-year player and a rookie. So, yeah, I have the Patriots, their worst case scenario, going 6-11. But I have their record this year at 9-8. I think they have a winning record. I think New England, they have a last place schedule. Um, and I think with the Patriots, I think they're going to give the Bills some fits in their games or play. They're not going to win the division, but I do think you'll see some competitive games um, against the Bills. And I think that the Patriots, with adding, they added what was it, Milton Williams
From Philly.
from Philly. They added Carlton Davis from
Yep.
the Lions. They added a lot in free agency. Um, and they also got the
Stephon
Campbell
Diggs.
kid. They also got the Campbell kid
Yep.
from LSU, Will Campbell, at the tackle position.
He's-
Stephon Diggs is kind of I mean,
He is, but they need a wide receiver.
he can't. I don't think he's going to be what he used to be anymore. He can be solid, but nothing crazy. I think Jalen Polk will have a bigger year. I think he'll kind of step up a little bit.
I think a guy who could break out for him is a rookie out of Washington State who benefited from John Mateer and Kyle Williams. I think he's going to be a guy who could break out for him.
Yeah. New England added a lot in the offseason.
Yes.
And with their division not being amazing, other than the Bills, I think that they can step up and be that second place team.
Yeah, my worst case scenario for the Patriots this year, granted their roster's gotten a lot better. It just kind of depends. I have it 8-9, and I have their best case. I think 12-5. I think they could be that good with their schedule. I think they have a pretty favorable schedule this season. Because of that, my prediction for them, I have them going 11-6. I think this team is going to solidify themselves at probably the top of the wild card in the AFC, 5th or 6th seed, for sure. And I think that, maybe 2026 can really be a serious year for the Patriots to maybe really fight for Buffalo to take back the AFC East from them.
I could see it. New England, like I said, they have a last place schedule. They're not playing, incredibly tough teams. 11-6. That'd be a hell of a jump. But there are teams that do it. There's teams that go from worst to first. That they're not going to win the division, but there's teams that can make that jump. And I think New England is honestly one of the favorites among anybody to take that jump with how much they added, with Drake May taking that next step. And I do think that with them having Mike Vrabel now, I think that's going to also help them out because I think Mike Vrabel is a very underrated head coach. I think Tennessee should have never let him go. And he's going to bring that toughness, and he's going to be able to, he was a Patriot. He knows how it works. And this, under Bill Belichick. And I think that he's going to bring some of that back with him. And then the Patriots are going to be good this year.
Moving on to third place in the division, I think you and I are both going to agree. I don't know if the rest of everyone else watching this might agree with it. But I have the New York Jets finishing ahead of the Miami Dolphins in third place. I know it hasn't been pretty in preseason for Justin Fields. I know. I've seen. Trust me. But I think that defense, when healthy, is a top 10 defense. Jermaine Johnson tore his Achilles in week 2 last year, which really hurt that defensive line. But you're talking Aaron Glenn coming from Detroit, defensive-minded, going to really benefit coaching a guy like Sauce Gardner, who's a top 2, top 3 cover corner in the league. I'm a big fan of this Jets defense. I think they're going to take a massive step forward from last year. They were the 20th best defense in 2024. I expect that number to jump up considerably this season. And I think that their backfield on the offensive side with Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, with Justin Fields being the quarterback, I think are going to benefit greatly from him being there. And I think those two guys are going to be much better this season as well. The problem is Justin Fields, is that going to work out? He's throwing to his college teammate in Garrett Wilson this year, and it feels like that should work in some way. The question is his confidence still depleted from Chicago and Pittsburgh?
Yeah, it's a big year for Justin Fields. I think this is finally his time to shine. Obviously in Chicago, quarterbacks go to die there. It's kind of tough to win with Chicago, especially under Matty Eberflus and that Bears organization, which is just trash. But going to Pittsburgh, he played and he actually did pretty well with the Steelers before Russell
Yes.
Wilson came in and took over. Um, I agree. I think that the Jets are going to finish third. I have them over the Dolphins. Um, the Jets to me are going to finish 8 and 9. I think they're still going to be under 500, but I think they will be better. I think they're going to take a step. Their defense is going to be solid again. Obviously, they were 20th last year. They dealt with some injuries, and they did lose DJ Reed to the Lions. But I do think with adding Aaron Glenn, you're going to see a lot of man coverage. You're going to see a ton of like sticky coverage where they're all over the place. He does play it well, and his defenses will play well when you need it to. But there are games where you couldn't stop the broadside of a barn with your defense. Trust me, it was rough. But most of the time he'll be good. Most of the time the defense will be good. I expect Sauce Gardner to be good again. He is one of the best corners in the league, and Quinnen Williams, one of the best defensive linemen in the league. The Jets' question mark is going to be that offense. It always has been for the past few years because their
Yes.
defense has been solid. Even under Robert Saleh, it was good. But their offense, Justin Fields is another massive question mark. Is he going to take a step at all? Is he going to try to take like a Baker Mayfield way of like, playing for a contract, getting a 1-year deal and maybe, extending him? We'll see. The Jets have pieces. They have Garrett Wilson. They have Brees Hall, who I know had a tough year last year. I think he's going to be better this year. Their offense isn't terrible. Their O-line isn't great, though. I will say that. Their
Yes.
offensive line needs to be a lot better this year. But they have receivers. They have running backs. And obviously, you know what you get with the defense. I just don't think the Jets have enough to make the playoffs. I think that they're still a few pieces away, but I think they can take a step in the next direction. And I think Aaron Glenn will be solid for them.
For sure, I agree. I actually have the exact same record prediction wise as finishing 8 and 9. I think they could be a 10 or 11 win team if everything goes right, and if this could be a home run hit.
Steps up. If Field steps up
Yes.
and has a really good a good year, like 20, 25 touchdowns, even
Yeah.
10 interceptions. That's a solid year. And if he can do that, obviously uses mobility, I think the Jets can be a threat. I just don't know because Justin Fields has been a massive question mark since he got to the league. But he's been under, he got drafted by the Bears. You're not going to be a good quarterback if you're on the Bears. And then he went to Pittsburgh, started a few games. He started out really well, kind of fizzled out a little bit, and then Russell Wilson came in, obviously. So this is his shot. This is his chance. If he doesn't get it right this year, Fields will be a backup for the rest of his career. So
The thing is, because of that as well, and the question marks, I think this team actually has the lowest floor out of anyone in the AFC East. Because I think with Miami, who we're going to get in here at number 4, I think you know what you're going to get. With New York, because of Justin Fields, if it really goes bad, I think could finish lower than Miami. I wouldn't be shocked if that does happen. Because Miami, with Tua, with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle in that receiving room, I think they're going to be just fine as long as Tua can actually be on the field for 4 quarters and not be in concussion protocol more than football field.
yeah.
But the offseason to me just didn't make a lot of sense in Miami. They drafted Kenneth Grant. I like that pick. I think Kenneth Grant is going to be a
needed
good
help with
defensive
D-line.
tackle. They needed that help.
Because of losing Christian Wilkins.
But bringing back Minkah Fitzpatrick after you traded him early on in his career, granted, Minkah Fitzpatrick, great safety. I'm not acting like he isn't. It's a lateral move with Jalen Ramsey. I know Jalen Ramsey wanted out of Miami. And Tyreek Hill in the offseason was, saying I want out of Miami. And then he retracted it like a few days later, and they have to mend that relationship again with Tua. So you have that drama. Plus, they just got the rapper and Darren Waller to be their tight end again out of retirement.
He's going to be nothing. He's
so
way too old. He's going to be nothing.
it's a lot of question marks in Miami. This year's a massive make or break year, and Mike McDaniel's one of those names to watch out if the season
He's
goes
number
wrong.
1 on my list. He is number 1 on my list to get fired. Zach Taylor's up there too, but Mike McDaniel's, The Dolphins 2 years ago, they were fighting it out for the division with the Bills, and it came down to that last game that the Bills won in Miami. And now it's like the Dolphins have fallen behind and they still
Big
have the
time.
same roster. Their defense is terrible. Obviously, they lost Andrew Van Ginkel previous year, and he had a great year with the Vikings last year. They lost Christian Wilkins 2 years ago, and they haven't recovered. The Dolphins just have a ton of question marks. And while their offense is solid, when it's sunny and 80 outside, and no rain conditions at all, they have no toughness at all. The Dolphins have a bunch of guys who can run really fast, who can catch, and hope that Tua can get you the ball. Devon
Yeah.
Achan is a solid running back. He's just fast. Devon Achan is just really fast. He's twitchy a little bit, but he's just fast. Tyreek Hill, you're getting out of Tyreek. Tyreek had one of his worst, he had his worst year of his career last year. Um, he just didn't look right. But Tua got hurt, and Tyreek was in and out of the lineup and got out a few times. And Jalen Waddle's just Jalen Waddle has been a solid wide receiver too, kind of like the same of Devontae Smith. Nothing in crazy, but they would probably be wide receiver ones on a really bad team. But
Yes.
anything like that, he's just kind of he's solid. Um, but it all falls on Tua. Tua has been very up and down. Tua can't stay on the field, and this Dolphins team, going into the season, I think that they're down on themselves. I don't think that they have a lot of confidence, because I don't think they have the pieces, especially on that defense. That defense is terrible, and now Minka Fitzpatrick is a good safety. Other than that, they have nothing. They have nothing that can accumulate to, oh, he's going to make massive plays for this team. I don't have any confidence in the Dolphins. I think they go 6-11, 7-10 probably. Um, I think Mike McDaniel's going to get fired mid-season. To be honest with you, I think that it's a culture issue as well. I think Mike McDaniel, it's cutesy and it's cool when you're all quirky and stuff, and making people laugh. But then when you're not
Yeah.
winning games, people turn on you fast, and it's not funny anymore. The shtick gets old, and it was cool the first few years when he was making the playoffs, but like you have no confidence in this team whatsoever to go on the road in anything lower than 60 degrees and win. Even if it's like slightly raining, this team's going to fold. If it's cold outside, this team's going to fold. Um, Now, if they can fix that, if maybe Tua takes a step and plays up to his contract for once and doesn't, get concussed on the field with his head for, 5, 6 weeks, then maybe. But I have no confidence in this Dolphins team. I got 6-11, 7-10. I think it's going to be a rough year in Miami, and one that is going to, they're going to look inward. They're going to think about firing Chris Greer. They're going to fire Mike McDaniel. I would put any money on him being the first coach to be fired, because I think that he was close to being fired last year, and he didn't. He didn't get fired. But this Dolphins team is in a rough patch. They're in a division that's not amazing, but is very top heavy with the Bills. Um, and maybe they take a step. Maybe Tua does something, finally stays healthy, and Tua and Tyreek get that connection back from 2 years ago, where Tyreek had an insane year. Um, but it just seems like there's not a lot of confidence down there,
No.
in Coral Gables, and I don't really get a lot of confidence coming from training camp either. So
Yeah. Best case scenario for me in Miami is that they go 9-8. I don't see anything better. But I think thing is they're too good to not get like 5 or 6 wins, but they're not good enough to get more than 9. I think they have a very like their floor and ceiling are pretty close to each other. I think my prediction's also 7-10. I think that's probably where they end up going. And I fully agree. I think Mike McDaniel more than likely gets fired if this is the outcome for him this year. They really do need to look inward. I think that they haven't necessarily addressed any of their real needs the last 2 or 3 years as good as they should have. And I think they made some very lateral moves that
like they
really
did better in the Minka
no.
Fitzpatrick move. They lost
Granted,
Jalen
they did
Ramsey.
need a safety. They did need a
They
safety.
did,
I
but they
understand
lost a
it.
corner.
Yeah,
Like they
exactly.
lost a corner doing that. So like, what's the point? Like you sure you get a safety, but you lose one of the best corners when healthy. and arguably your best player and leader in your defense, which is kind of sad to say,
Yeah.
but he was their leader on that defense. And now Minka, they traded him a few years ago, and now he's back.
Yeah. The only real thing that they kind of struggled with last year, I mean, Bradley Chubb did not play at all in 2024 because he tore, I believe, his ACL or Achilles preseason before the season ever started, and he'll be back this year. So he's been a very hit or miss guy in his career in Denver.
He was the 5th pick in the draft.
So they need him to actually play like the 5th pick in the draft for them to probably get to 9-8 this year. But yeah, Miami, don't have a lot of hope for you.
No.
Moving on to the next division, the AFC North, the black and blue division, the real division of football.
The black and blue division.
The black and blue division. It is the black and blue division. I mean, have you not seen Vontez Perfect and Antonio Brown play football before? Have you not seen Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs? Have you not seen Josh Cribbs get obliterated by James Harrison? Okay.
I have. I remember.
Number one in the AFC North, I think it's pretty clear who number one should be. Probably
Baltimore,
yeah.
And I don't know. I have them winning 13 games. I think they would go 13-4.
I have them going 14-3. I have them finishing as the number one overall team in the AFC this season. The only real question mark about Baltimore, I feel like, is if Tyler Luke can be a good Justin Tucker replacement. And if Mark Andrews continues to regress. I think that's maybe the only real question mark is tight end, and if Isaiah Likely maybe steps more into a tight end one role over Mark Andrews. It'll be interesting to see if Andrews continues his decline a little bit, or maybe he bounces back. But yeah, Baltimore should be the best team in the AFC.
Their defense
on
is
paper.
going to be insane this year. Absolutely insane.
That duo already, Malachi Starks out of Georgia getting picked like 30th overall by them.
Jair
opposite
Alexander
of Kyle Hamilton.
Like, that's a hell of a corner duo. And then that defensive line led by Justin Mazubuike.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. This entire defense is going to be one to mess with. And Malachi Starks, who we talked about, they got Mike Green in the draft, who was projected to go in the first round. They got him in the second round. If he can pan out, this defense is going to be crazy. It's going to be nuts. This defense is going to be really good, and I'm excited to see it. Except not in week 3. I won't be excited then, but after that, yeah.
Number 2 here, I feel like we might disagree. I don't really know, but I still have faith in the 4th best quarterback in the NFL and Joe Burrow over a team like Pittsburgh. Because, granted, I know that defense is awful. And granted, I know he has like no offensive line help. It's not that good. Orlando Brown's their best offensive lineman. It's been pretty. It is 3 players on the offense, but here's the thing: that offense alone.
It's some of the 3 best players at their position on that offense.
Yes, that offense.
Number 1, 2, and quarterback.
That offense alone can make this team go far because you have the best wide receiver in the NFL outside of Justin Jefferson, and you have the best wide receiver too, like you said, and quarterback best quarterback. You could argue has the best arm talent overall at all phases of the game out of anyone in the league.
I have the Bengals second too.
I didn't know. I thought you may have slid someone up there a little bit.
No, I have the Bengals finishing second. I think last year they had everything go wrong for them. Joe Burrow was having an MVP type year, and the only reason he didn't win is because his team didn't make the playoffs. If they would have made the playoffs, he would have had a real case.
Yeah.
And I think the Bengals go 10-7. I think they're gonna have a better year this year. I think their defense isn't great, but their offense is gonna score so many points that they also have a third place schedule this year. So I think that the Bengals will be better because it has to be. If they don't get better, then they're gonna have a lot of question marks, and Zach Taylor's gonna be sitting on the couch at home. This is a make or break year for Zach Taylor and for the Bengals because they have to get this right. But the problem is I don't have a lot of confidence in them to win more than 10 games because their defense is so handicapped. I mean, correct. Trey Hendrickson, this whole thing's been going on for way too long. Just pay him and get it over with. Either pay him or trade him and stop this holdout stuff and stop with contract standstill. It's not that hard.
Yes.
Make your decision and commit to it. I hate when owners do this. Just commit to it. I mean, we are 3 weeks out from the first week, and Hendrickson he's not holding out. He's going to practice, but he's getting more and more, pissed off every single day because of this whole thing. And who knows, maybe he sits out. Maybe he pulls a Chris Jones from a few years ago, opening night against the Lions. He didn't play because of his contract dispute. Maybe Trey Hendrickson does that week 1 at the Browns. I don't know, but they need to figure it out. That defense is going to be terrible again because it's just Trey Hendrickson. But that offense is going to be really, really fun to watch. And I think that because their offense will carry them every single game, they'll win 10 games, 9 or 10. And they will become close. They will come close, or if not, make the wild card.
Yeah, reports recently have said that they are open to trade Hendrickson now. They are listening to offers on the table for him.
I'm stupid.
Going to Detroit, huh? No.
I would absolutely love that. The problem is we got to pay Aiden Hutchinson, and I don't need two edge rushers, combined $85 million a year.
Speaking of that, they named the Browns as an actual team that's trying to trade for him. Like, that's going to happen.
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't make any sense for the Browns to do that.
The Browns don't make sense.
Their D-line very, very good, but, does that make them a playoff team? No, it doesn't.
Moving on here to number 3. You never know. Maybe it is Cleveland. No, it's not. It's Pittsburgh Steelers.
9-8 next.
Exactly. That's the prediction. That's the prediction is 9-8. I have worst case. I do have worst case and best case scenario, but it's 9-8.
9-8.
Aaron Rodgers last year in the NFL. Do I really trust it? We know the defense will be whatever. Derek Harmon is the name to watch out for this year. I think Derek Harmon is going to step in. He's really the Cam Hayward replacement. That's why they drafted him in round 1. The kid from Oregon. I expect him to have a big role year 1.
Western Michigan.
Yes. I think he is going to be a massive, massive piece for this defense moving forward. Getting DK instead of George Pickens and swapping, they're like the same receiver in some ways.
I'd say DK's a little better, but yeah, it's not a massive upgrade.
And it's not they added...
It's a slight upgrade, but then again, it's Pittsburgh's offense. It's Arthur Smith. Is it really going to get that better?
I will say their running game is going to be a lot better. I have high expectation for Caleb Johnson to come in with Jalen Warren. I think Caleb Johnson's eventually going to be running back 1 for that franchise. I'm very high on him coming out of Iowa. He was top 5 running back for me in this draft class. I think he will do a lot better and make this running game a lot better. They've had a pretty weak run game for the last couple of years because that offensive line in the run game was probably some of the worst in the NFL. But that offensive line has improved over the last couple of years. Yeah, 9-8. 9-8 for Pittsburgh.
All you got to say is 9-8. That's what they do every year. So.
All right, let's get to the real team in this division, shall we? Last place, 32nd overall offense last year, 27th best defense last year. Probably because they were on the field 50 out of the 60 minutes. The Cleveland Browns. Joe Flacco is the week 1 starter as it should have been. I'm glad they didn't overthink that. And say Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur Sanders week 1.
It should have been Shedeur. It would have been so funny.
No. The real question for me is I don't think Jerome Ford's going to be your main running back moving forward. I think a guy like Dylan Sampson is going to play a lot more. I think he's going to be your running back 1 this season with the whole Quinshon Judkins debacle. He still is yet to sign his contract.
Yeah. Pretty sure he got innocent though.
He is innocent.
I was gonna say I thought they got.
He's not innocent, but he's not necessarily innocent. He just got cleared of his charges.
Yeah.
But so yes, he has yet to sign his contract though because they're still having debates on his contract. They're having disputes. So we'll have to see there. But I think Dylan Sampson, the rookie out of Tennessee,
not that hard.
Pay their players, but
pay your players. It's not that hard. You employ Deshaun Watson. You have no morals, so just pay him.
Understandable.
5-12. I have the Browns winning 5 games.
What's the worst case scenario? That's the real question.
0-17.
It's 1-16.
If Flacco is actually shows his age, and that team in Flacco is not amazing, they're not going to win a game. They're just not. That defense is going to be solid again. It'll be better than last year because it has to be. If Miles Garrett, isn't gonna, maybe Miles Garrett will request a trade again just to get a raise or something like this, and then the next
Go be a $50 million.
He's burned all
defensive
bridges,
end.
or he burned bridges with Cleveland fans. I would assume doing that, but maybe not. If I was a Browns fan, I'd be pissed at Miles for going out and saying I don't really want to be in Cleveland. I want to win a Super Bowl, and then going out and signing with the Browns again. It's because that's going against what you went out and said to everybody in the fan base. But
He pulled the Micah Parsons. Well, Micah Parsons pulled the Miles Garrett.
Parsons will get paid. That's why I hate. Just pay your guys. But I think they'll win five games. I think Flacco still has some juice left in them. They are not making the playoffs. I'm sorry to tell you, they're not going to do what they did 2 years ago, where Flacco gets signed midseason. They go 7-2 in their last 9.
Are you sure that Joe Flacco doesn't just lead the league in passing yards and touchdowns this season?
He might.
No.
He has the mobility of a snail. I think that if you can just
you didn't see his mobility against the Jets that Thursday night game, dude.
Yeah,
you didn't see him get punched in the face and then roll out and then sling it to Jerome Ford.
He had his first 10-yard rollout in 5 years. He probably had to use all of his energy for that rollout.
Yes,
that's why he can't do it for this year. The Browns, I will say, one player that can make a massive difference of this team, if they can be good, is Dylan Sampson for the running back position. If he can actually be solid, the Browns can be better. And a guy that I expect that if he can take a jump, that maybe the Browns can win a few more games is Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy had a really good year last year, very underrated year. And if he can take another step and maybe get 1,400 receiving yards with Flacco, Shador, Dylan Gabriel, and whatever 20 quarterbacks they throw in these 17 games, I think that they could maybe get to 2 games out of 500 and go 7-10. Well, I guess that'd be 3 games.
See, I'm banking on the fact that Joe Flacco early on can get us some wins. We'll say that first 4-game stretch, if we go anything better than 0-4, that's a win on the season. Because that first
Who's your guys' first 4 games? I know you play us.
Week 1,
play the Bengals. Who are your other 2 games?
Yeah, so week 1, Cincinnati at home. That's a guaranteed W. You know what I mean?
You're not.
Then
it's
at,
lose with the Bengals at home.
At Baltimore week 2.
You're losing that.
Green Bay at home, and then at Detroit.
Probably. You'll probably lose that.
Yeah. If we go 1-3, which we should, because Cincinnati at home is a guaranteed win, usually.
And then at
we should be fine. Then at Detroit. For me, worst case scenario is legitimately winning week 1, and that's it. So 1-16. I think best case.
Pull a Jaguars from a few years ago where they won week 1 and Gardner Minshew was all excited and then lose 16 games.
Yeah, exactly. For me, best case scenario is if Joe Flacco is somehow still that magical dust that he had in 2023. Those 10-yard rollouts that he somehow was alive for after because he was gasping for air.
Yep.
I think best case scenario is 9-8. I know it sounds like an absolute stretch, but that's if this defense improves. That's if our cornerback depth behind Greg Newsome and Denzel Ward can play. Granted, MJ Emerson's out for the year. You have guys like Cameron Mitchell, Miles Harden who would need to step up. And if it doesn't work out with Joe Flacco, what if Shador pops in or a Dylan Gabriel pops in and somehow leads this offense? I don't expect that.
I'm telling you.
My actual prediction is 6-11. I think 6-11, is a fair prediction. I think they might not get better than that. I think 6-11 is probably their ceiling in reality. But best case, the real ceiling is 9-8 with Joe Flacco.
You guys are not winning 9 games.
You're right. Let's move on to the AFC South now. All right. Into the AFC South, I think there's only really one team you can say is still going to be number 1 in that division. It has to be Houston.
Each time.
Houston.
I have them going 11-6.
I have them going 10-7. Because their offensive line, I still have the question marks for. They just traded Laramie Tunsil to Washington. The only real offensive lineman they had who was sort of
Kenyon Green.
That's
Green,
true.
the guard, is pretty good.
Kenyon Green's not bad.
Yeah, their offensive line is an issue.
My question really outside of the offensive line is the wide receiver play. Because, yes, outside of Nico Collins, who's been consistent, you've had Tank Dell with his injuries.
They just traded John Mechie.
Traded John Mechie to Philadelphia. They're gonna need those Iowa State. They're gonna need those Iowa State guys to come in and step up. The Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. They drafted both of those guys out of Iowa State. I think they're gonna come in and probably be one of those wide receiver 2s or wide receiver 3s for them. I would assume they still have Tank Dell listed on their depth chart as wide receiver 2.
Buddy's not playing the sport of football till like 2 years.
That's the problem.
That Kansas City, his leg literally got detached from his body.
Oh, it's actually, I forgot they signed Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is their wide receiver 2.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Yeah, because he just went there.
I don't get. That's not a terrible receiving room. Kirk's not horrific. He's not good, but he's not horrific.
Yeah, it's
Nico
just
Collins,
if they stay healthy.
Nico Collins is such an underrated receiver in this league.
If he would have played at a different university, he would probably be rated just properly.
He would have been utilized more because Michigan doesn't pass the ball.
But everyone this year coming into 2025 is the C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young comparisons, because Bryce Young had a much better year last year and C.J. Stroud kind of regressed a little bit. I think C.J. Stroud, he needs to prove it this year that he is exactly what we believe he is. 10-7, I think, is still a perfect record for this division. They have the 18th hardest strength of schedule this year. It's middle of the pack, a little bit below. I think Houston will be just fine. I think their defense is going to be really good. Will Anderson Jr. I think people
Danielle Hunter
and Derek Singletary. Did I say? Yeah. Yes. Stingley. Derek Stingley. I said Singletary. Wow. Derek Stingley Jr. He's going to be outstanding this year, I think. I think he's going to be like top 50 when it comes to 2026 player rankings. I think he's going to step up big time.
Yeah. I think Houston will be good. Houston was good last year, and Stroud, while he didn't have an amazing year, he didn't have a horrific year.
They still went to the divisional round.
20 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Not amazing, but you definitely could have worse quarterback performances. I think that, they made it to the divisional round. The Texans I think they're going to be good again. I like what they have in Houston. I really like their coach, and I really like their quarterback duo. I think that they're going to be good for a long time. So I like D'Amico Ryans, and I like C.J. Stroud. And I think that them making the playoffs, and they're both their rookie years, kind of, rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. I think that they're going to be fine. So
at number 2, I think this is where, for me, it might be a bit of a reach. I know it's kind of hard, really, because two could be 4 could be 2 in this division.
After this, it really doesn't matter. The next 3 don't. I mean, maybe Jacksonville, but other than that, these next 3 don't matter.
Number 2, I have the Titans. I was high on the Titans last year, which was awful, and they got the number 1 pick. But I think this roster is much better.
You said the same thing last year with the Titans, and they became the worst team in football. Oh, the Titans are going to surprise some people.
I think
the Titans were horrific.
See, here's the thing about it's a much different thing, because I think their quarterback has the actual mindset to lead a franchise. He has the tools. We're high on Cam Ward.
He sat out in his bowl game at halftime.
He sat out in his bowl game at halftime, but that was already planned by Miami for him to do that anyway. That's the thing. Mm-hmm. However, he's got the mindset, and I believe in Cam Ward. I think in a division that is as weak as the AFC South is, they could surprise some folks, and he could have one of those rookie years where it's a Baker Mayfield-like rookie year where he comes in and it's, oh, wow, somehow in Week 16 the Browns are still playing for a playoff spot. Or, Justin Herbert's rookie year, or even, it's not going to be Jane Daniels' rookie year. It's not going to be that.
No.
Not at all. But I think it could be one of those. That is a massive anomaly. But I'm bought in on Cam Ward. I think their defensive line's one of the more underrated defensive lines in the NFL. Jeffrey Simmons is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And they added some pieces on the wide receiver room. I know it's unction over there in Calvin Ridley and Tyler Lockett, but those are some veteran guys you need for a guy like Cam Ward. Possession catches. Think of the fantasy points Tyler Lockett's going to get the second he catches the ball and drops to the field.
5-yard checkdowns when Tyler Lockett can't run 15 yards down the field. And
But the
Calvin
best-
Ridley
but
tears
that's
his
the
ACL
best-
running 10 yards down the field.
But that's the
They
best
have-
part, okay? Tyler Lockett, just think of those possession catches just falling straight down.
Good this year.
He is. He is.
Really? Is he? He was
Yes.
terrible last year.
Okay, my worst case for the Titans is still like 5-12. Okay, that could easily happen.
That's what I have. I have 5
Yeah.
and 12.
Best case, I think they could finish 9-8. I'm gonna predict that they're gonna get closer to that. I think they're gonna go 8-9.
Sure. Sure. Why
I'm not falling for them making the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah, no, you're not saying they're making the playoffs. I think the Titans are going to suck. I think their head coach sucks. I think Brian Callahan is kind of a clown. He's a good OC. He's not a good coach. But yeah, it's the fact that Tennessee last year, they went, they got L'Jarius Sneed, they got all these players to sign Tony Pollard, they got Calvin Ridley, they got all these just for them to absolutely suck. And some of that did have to do with Will Levis. Will Levis was not good.
He gave us generational memes. That's
Yeah,
what
he
he did
did.
every single
And
week.
I will say, if Cam Ward can figure it out in his rookie year, I can see the Titans giving teams fits because their defense at times was good. They did give up 52 to the Lions, but it's the fact that the Titans, this is a big year for them. It's their rookie quarterback, their number 1 overall pick. I don't trust their receiving room. I don't trust their running back room. I do not. Their offensive line is better. They signed Kevin Zeitler from the Lions, but their defense, it's all right. It's good. I wouldn't. It's like a top 20, top 15 defense. And I think with an offense that can maybe score some points this year, it can maybe get higher because your defense isn't going to be on the field as much, kind of like the Browns. I got 7 and 10, but my number 2 team is the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars got better. Adding Travis Hunter is going to be it's going to be some of the most interesting football to watch to see what he does on the football field if he actually does play corner and receiver.
Yes.
The Jags, they paid the Browns a massive haul to get him, and it's a big risk. But it's a risk they needed to take because Trevor Lawrence needs to get going. And I think that if him and Travis Hunter can get a connection going, you could see Jacksonville having a really good offense. Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne. Travis Etienne has been terrible since he had his rookie year. Last year, he was horrific. And Tank Bigsby kind of took over and they went half and half. I think Etienne has to be better for this team to be good, though. Their running game has to be better. Tank Bigsby was solid, but Etienne is their guy, and he has to be a lot better. Their defense is not terrible. I do like Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker, but it's not amazing. So I have the Jaguars going 9-8. So I have them being just a game over 500. I think they'll be solid. Maybe they sneak into the wild card as the 7th seed, but I don't know.
You and Jacksonville, you love the Jags every year. Let's just
Not anymore. I haven't been second place.
You haven't
They're going to be
finishing
better.
over
They're
500.
going to be better than the bum ass Colts, and they're going to be better than the Titans. I think. If they are not, good for you because you get their first round pick. You want them to lose.
Yeah, so that's why I might switch
So
my
that way you
3
can
and
draft
4 real
Arch Manning.
quickly.
Or actually, that way you can draft Drew Allen.
Drew Aller and Caleb Downs. That's what I'm planning on getting. 1 and 2 overall. Now, I got Jacksonville here at number 3. Trevor Lawrence, he just has to be better. We talked about it earlier in our first episode about Trevor Lawrence and the pressure that he's under and that he needs to step up with the money that he's being paid by the Jags to be their franchise guy. And statistically, he's basically Danny Dimes so far in his career. And with the whole Andrew Luck comparisons coming out, it just hasn't panned out necessarily. With Travis Hunter coming in, it definitely adds a nice interest to Jacksonville. A lot of people are going to be watching Jacksonville football this season because of it. They want to see what Travis Hunter can do. They want to see if it can work. I am a fan of that defense, though. That defense is going to be pretty nice. They do have some decent safeties and cornerbacks outside of Travis Hunter still. It's just I've got to see it. I've got to see Liam Cohen come in year one and see how this offense can do. He made that Buccaneers offense
He made
elite,
Baker Mayfield, get a lot better.
and it can happen. I do think best case scenario for them is like 10-7. I think they could at best be a wild card team, 100%. I see it. Worst case scenario, they could fall flat on their face with everything and go 4-13. I think Jacksonville is. I mean, we've seen it too many times with Jacksonville.
Yeah, and they can't get rid of Lawrence either.
So I'm predicting them to go 7-10, just under Tennessee, just because I think Tennessee could come out of nowhere from people, and I think Cam Ward could just really play at a high level right away. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see those two teams for me throughout the season. I think they're pretty neck and neck coming into this year. And number 4 for both of us is the Danny Dimes led Indianapolis Colts.
This team is a train wreck. This team is an absolute train wreck. I have them going 6-11. Daniel Jones will get you a few wins. You're not going to be horrific, but I think we can start to think that maybe when I said Anthony Richardson was going way too high up draft boards, that maybe I was onto something because it was all projection. And
yes.
The fact that we are in now, this is his third year, right? This is his third or his fourth? This is his third year.
I think it's fourth year now.
Fourth? I thought it was his third year. Anyway, we're 3-4 years into his career, and the fact that he's not the starter of the Colts and Daniel Jones took the starting job over him should tell you something. It should tell you something.
Yes, 100%. Thing is, this roster on paper, outside of the quarterback position, is honestly pretty good. They have one of the better running backs in the league, and Jonathan Taylor. It is third year?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they have Jonathan Taylor, top 5, top 10 running back when he's actively healthy and playing well. You have Michael Pittman Jr., who to me is a very underrated wide receiver. You have you drafted Tyler Warren. That's the one bright spot I think a lot of people are expecting to watch this year, to see Tyler Warren. And that defense, they still have DeForest Buckner, and they still have pieces on that defense who are very capable. It's just, the quarterback. The quarterback's the biggest thing. It's awful.
Terrible situation.
I have the same record, though, as Jacksonville. I think 7-10 will be where Indianapolis ends up because I think their roster is just too good to not get some wins for them to bail out Danny Dimes and bail out Anthony Richardson when he comes in on red zone packages, because that's definitely going to happen. But yeah, Indy, man.
He needs to learn to take a sack, and he also needs to learn to slide.
Yes. Indy they just need a quarterback, man, and they don't have it. I don't think it's on this roster. So let's get to our last division of the day here, finishing up the AFC with the AFC West. And of course, the team that's always been to the Super Bowl every year, it feels like. They can never leave our mind. Will they win the AFC West this year is the real question, Spence.
Yeah, it's Mahomes. They've won it 9 straight years. The Chiefs are inevitable. Andy Reid and Mahomes and Travis Kelce are voodoo magic. Nothing matters, and the Chiefs are inevitable. I think they go 12-5. They get Rashee Rice back this year, which I think he was doing really well before he got hurt in that game against the Chargers. I know people are saying the Chargers and the Broncos, and it's like, yeah, but Mahomes is like 1,000-0 again in division games. It doesn't matter. He does not lose division games. The Broncos I think will be better. The Chargers will be solid, but it's like Mahomes is inevitable. And every year we go through this, is this the year Mahomes finally loses the division? No, it's not. Mahomes owns this division. Andy Reid is the founder of this division. And it's at the end of the day, the Chiefs run this division. It's people need to stop trying to get cute with things, because while the Broncos might be better and the Chargers might be better, they can't beat the Chiefs. They just can't. Last year the Broncos beat the Chiefs in Denver, which was surprised the hell out of me because it was like Mahomes' first road loss in the division, I think, or at least one of his first few.
In his career, yeah.
Yeah. And It's the fact that Mahomes just every time people doubt him and every time people doubt the Chiefs, they always find a way to win. Every single time.
So you know what I'm gonna do, Spence? I'm gonna doubt.
Yeah.
I'm gonna doubt the Chiefs this year. I'm gonna
All
doubt
right,
them
man.
because my number one team is not the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs win the AFC West this year. And no, this is not me just trying to put them down or just doubt
Geno
them.
Smith is leading the Raiders to the promised land.
That's exactly what's happening. Pete Carroll at age 75.
Pete Carroll at age like 80, 85, 90, whatever he is.
95, 100.
Yeah, something like that.
Pretty
He looks
close.
100.
No, it's the Los Angeles Chargers. And I know they just lost Rashawn Slater, season-ending injury. But Harbaugh ball wins, man. All he has to do is just cheat at Michigan, and it just keeps on going. But he wins wherever he is. I really am buying into the Chargers this year. I think that adding Najee Harris and Amari Hampton, granted, we need Najee Harris to have a working eyeball when season does start.
Mm-hmm.
It should still work out just fine. I'm a big fan of Amari and Hampton out of North Carolina. They're getting the unction with receivers as well. They're bringing Keenan Allen back, and Mike Williams ended up retiring anyway before the season started. But Ladd McConkey, dude.
Ladd McConkey
and
50-year-olds.
I fully believe in the Chargers for some reason. I'm just buying into it. I think the way that they're building that roster, the way that they're building that team, I think they're going to take that step forward this year. And I think Kansas City, my question marks is that offensive line. Josh Simmons coming in as a rookie out of Ohio State, I expect him to eventually be a great left tackle in Kansas City. I think he's going to be a Pro Bowl left tackle for Kansas City eventually. But outside, they don't have Joe Tooney anymore. This offensive line on paper is the worst offensive line Kansas City is going to have in Mahomes' career. Wide receiver room hasn't necessarily gotten better. Tight end room, Travis Kelce has regressed the last 2 seasons. Do we expect him to be better this year? I don't know. And it might be his last season in the NFL. That's what it feels like, anyway. Yeah, the defense is still pretty good. I think the entire AFC West, outside of really Las Vegas, has drastically improved and have now matched Kansas City. It's now time for them to go on the field and prove it. For me, I think the Chargers, I understand that Justin Herbert has the question marks. He's got to do it when it matters. But we keep talking about Herbert. He's got the talent. I think it's there. It just hasn't happened yet. You know what I mean? And it's just got to happen. I think this year I'm predicting for it to happen. I've got the Chargers and the Chiefs finishing with the same record at 11-6. Now I have the Chargers finishing ahead of them in tiebreakers. Because I think the Chargers are just going to be better in the regular season. Postseason, you never know. But I have the Chargers winning the AFC West.
Nothing matters. The Chiefs own everything. Except the Eagles. At least that's that. I think the Chargers will be good. I just, Harbaugh's going to be in his second year. They had a really good first year together. They really, turned some heads, making the playoffs and stuff. But it's Kansas City, man. It's like you just get a hunch, and the fact that you just can't beat them when it matters. When it matters, the Chiefs always win.
They do.
Now,
they do.
Maybe it's the downfall. Maybe the Super Bowl is, premonition of what's to come. Maybe the Chiefs finally their dynasty is over. But until they lose this division, I can't choose against them.
It's understandable.
I do think the Chargers make the playoffs, though. I think the Chargers are going to be very good. I think Amari Hampton is up there for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's in a great spot. He's in a great offense. Their defense, while getting very older, is going to be good again. And same thing with the Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to be very good and are going to be up there too. I think the Chargers do finish 11-6. I think that the Chiefs finish 12-5, the Chargers finish 11-6, and the Broncos finish 10-7. I think they're going to be 1, 2, and 3. I think all 3 of them make the playoffs.
I agree.
The Raiders, nobody cares about the Raiders. They'll go 7-10.
I agree. I think a lot of people might think Denver could be that team that actually jumps ahead of Kansas City if there's this debate.
Their defense is going to be really good this year. Denver's defense is going to be arguably one of the best in the league.
If not the best in the league. with the pieces that they added. They brought Dre
I think
Greenlaw.
people are sleeping on this Broncos defense. I think people don't realize how good it's going to be.
They led the league in sacks last season with 64 sacks as a team last year. They brought in Dre Greenlaw. They brought Fuanga as well from San Francisco. They brought both of them over. Nick Bonito is a very, very, very good NFL player. He's top 50, top 40 in the NFL right now, and I think you're going to see that this season.
Yep.
Breakout player potential. Troy Franklin, the wide receiver out of Oregon, I think is going to be a breakout player for them this year. They need more wide receivers to step up outside of Cortland Sutton. Marvin Mims Jr. has been a very, very good wide receiver for him. I think Troy Franklin has the potential to really be a guy to take the next step in year 2. They do have Evan Ingram as their tight end as well.
He's decent.
I have them finishing 10-7 simply because I still have question marks to the offense, as Bo Nix maybe has a little bit of a sophomore slump no one's really talking about. I could see that happening. I still think that defense.
Their running back room is also a very big question mark.
It is.
Harvey.
It's a very, very big question mark. They didn't necessarily get, like a Quinshon Judkins or a Travion Henderson or a Caleb Johnson or any of those kind of running backs in the draft. So it will be intriguing to see their running game. But I mean, that offensive line's still one of the better ones too in the NFL still with Garrett Bowles. So Denver I could flip the Chargers in Denver if I really, really wanted to. I'm high on this roster, but I think I still trust Harbaugh oddly more than I trust Sean Payton right now. And number 4.
I mean, it's the head coaches in the AFC West. It's unbelievable from all 4.
Yes.
It's like legends all across the board.
Number 4, I mean, it's the Raiders.
All right.
It's the Raiders.
7, I have them going 6-11, 7-10.
6-11 is my prediction for them as well. I think best case is 8-9 because I think the rest of this division is just much better than them. Granted, they still have probably the best defensive lineman in the division in Max Crosby.
You wanted it. You didn't want to come to Detroit.
But I mean, Geno Smith is still more than fine. He's a serviceable quarterback. But
nah.
I mean, they have Ashton Genty. They have Brock Bowers, and I have a very, very bold take I want to say about Brock Bowers.
All right, hurry, because we got to get going. We got to pick it up.
Oh, I know. Brock Bowers is going to be top 5 in receiving yards this season. He's going to be targeted the most.
Take the sophomore slump like Sam Laporta did. I mean, maybe. They don't have many receivers out there in Las Vegas that are...
Jacoby Myers.
Yay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think top 5. I think that's because I think that there's just so many good receivers in this league that a tight end making it top. I mean, you'd have to have a generational tight end just make an absolute run. And I don't know if Geno Smith is capable of giving that. But who knows? Crazier things have happened. I'll have a bold take about the Raiders. I think Ashton Genty's a bust. I think that while he was really good at Boise State, the games that mattered, and especially the playoffs, he was terrible. I mean, he was terrible against actual NFL talent.
What was he terrible against Oregon in week 1?
Was that week 1? I thought that was week 2.
Week 2, it was, because they played Idaho week 1.
But like in the playoffs, like the playoff game, he did nothing against Penn State.
Could you say that's his offensive line going up against Abdul Carter and deny Dennis Sutton?
Well, if he's a top 6 pick, he should make things happen. Just saying.
It's fair. That's fair.
All right, let's get to
next week we'll get into NFC breakdown. Let's get into our college football playoff predictions. As we said earlier, we're not predicting the full length of the playoff. We're predicting who's going to make it. Let's start from 1 and count down to 12. So my number 1 team by the end of this year is going to be the SEC champion. They are going to win some big-time games, a lot of big-time games on their schedule. And I think they could lose week 1. They could easily lose week 1, but be just fine throughout the rest of the year. I've got the Texas Longhorns finishing number 1 overall and will be the number 1 seed when it comes to playoff time.
Yeah, I have Texas at 2. I have Clemson at 1. I think Clemson is Clemson and Texas, I think you can flip flop. They are the two most complete teams in college football. But yeah, I have Clemson at 1 and Texas at 2. ACC champion, SEC champion. We could easily see them fighting for the national championship. So
Yeah. For me at number 2, I actually don't have Clemson. Granted, I've been high on Clemson. I have the number 1 in the country in my preseason rankings. I feel like Clemson's going to have like one of those games or one of those losses that will randomly just have them like drop and not be number 1 when it comes to the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I have Ohio State at number 2. I have Ohio State winning the Big Ten over a Penn State. I do think they'll play each other twice this year, and I have Ohio State finishing second and being second when the playoff come out.
I have Ohio State finishing third and winning the Big Ten. I agree with them winning the Big Ten. I don't know about second, but I would be happy with that. I just think Clemson and Texas are slightly better. Obviously, we're going to learn a lot week 1 with Texas at Ohio State. But I think Ohio State's got to win the Big Ten. They have to win the Big Ten soon because the Big Ten, while it's not on a down year, it's going to be a competitive year from the Big Ten, but there's not that team. I'm not putting Penn State as that team. I'm sorry, they're not that team. There's not like a heavy loaded team like there was last year with Ohio State and Oregon, or the year prior with Michigan and Ohio State. I have OSU finishing third. At number 4, I have Notre Dame. I think the Fighting Irish people are going to be sleeping on them. I think Notre Dame is going to be very, very, very good again. Jeremiah Love is going to have an amazing year for the Irish.
I agree with you there. And C.J. Carr just got named their starting quarterback as well recently. For me, at number 3, I do have Clemson. I think Clemson, there's no way they fall off that hard. They do have South Carolina on the road at the end of the year, and Lenora Sellers did win that game last year in Clemson. But this roster's really good. They do have LSU week 1. I think, to me, it's because I feel like Clemson, they always have one of those games like week 4, week 5 randomly against like a Syracuse or a Pittsburgh or a Georgia Tech. They play Georgia Tech. They could drop that game against Georgia Tech, and you're very high on Georgia Tech. So
yep.
That could be the game they lose. I think there's one game they lose in the regular season that everyone's kind of like, huh. And then it's back to Clemson being Clemson. For me, at number 4, I have Penn State. I don't think Penn State's going to fall off that hard. I think they beat Oregon at home in their whiteout game. And they do have a couple other games, but I think it's really just a battle of them against Ohio State this season. I think it's possible they pull off one of the game in Columbus or in Indianapolis, because I think they're going to have a rematch. I think these two teams are going to play twice. I fully think these two teams will play in the Big Ten Championship. And I think Penn State's going to be good enough, and they're going to be ranked at number 4.
Yeah, I have Penn State ranked 5. Penn State's going to be good this year. I think OSU will beat them twice, and I think that'll be why they drop below Notre Dame. So,
it's fair. For me, at number 5, I have the team who I expect to play in the SEC title game lose to Texas. But I'm so high. I'm high on this team. I don't understand the doubts as much because this roster is very good. Granted, their starting running back will be out first couple weeks, but they will have young guys. Number 5, I have the Crimson Tide at number 5. I think Alabama is going to be just fine. I think they're going to play Texas for the SEC title game. I think this defense is very legit. I think this offense, I know Ty Simpson and the question marks at quarterback, but they still have Ryan Williams. Jam Miller's out to start the year, but they do have Richard Young, 5-star running back who can come in and just play right away as well. They still have good wide receiver depth outside of Ryan Williams. Isaiah Horton, Miami transfer, coming in as well. I think Alabama will be fine. They're going to be number 5.
My number 6 team is Georgia. They have a complete roster. It's Georgia. I know that their quarterback situation with Gunnar Stockton's not amazing, but I think Georgia's going to be just fine. Kind of like with Alabama. They have plenty of enough roster or talent, and it's Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart's going to be fine. So, yeah.
My number 6 team is your number 4, is Notre Dame. I think that Jeremiah Love is the arguably top 3 player in college football, top 5 player in college football this season. CJ Carr is going to be more than capable. And they have some tests. They have some serious tests. They have A&M and Miami and USC later on in the season. I think USC's more than capable. In fact,
No, they're not.
they're
We suck.
they don't suck. They do not
Yeah, they
suck,
do.
bro.
They went
USC's
6-7 last year. Or
so
7-6. I don't
we're
remember what they
talking
went.
this year. We're talking this year. We're not talking
Yeah.
last year.
And
USC is
Lincoln
going to be
Riley.
fine.
He's been there for a few years now, and has it really been that amazing?
It's going to be. That's not amazing, but it's a test. It's a test nonetheless. But yeah, Notre Dame's going to be at number 6. I think they have one loss somewhere, and it's probably going to be against School of Hard Knocks or something like that. But that's their issue is they'll beat everybody tough, but then lose to like Marshall or lose to Northern Illinois, and then get to the playoff and then lose to someone who's actually better than them. But Notre Dame this year will be really good at number 6.
I have LSU at 7. We've talked about LSU before in the podcast. Garrett Nussmeier is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year, or in college football this year. There's a lot of hype around the Tigers. I think that Clemson test week 1 will be really nice to see how they pan out. And Brian Kelly's got to get it right. So LSU.
At number 7, I have the Georgia Bulldogs. I just have a lot of question marks with them coming into this year, and I feel like I could put them lower than this for me personally, but you have to trust Kirby Smart, and you have to trust Georgia at some point. I mean, they've been the most consistent program the last 3, 4, 5 years in college football. They're always there, no matter what. I do question Gunnar Stockton, though. Is he going to be capable? And I need to see that wide receiver room step up. They have a lot more talent there than they did last year. Better talent than last year. They just got to be better. They've got to be better on the offensive side of the ball. But I still think Georgia, they're going to get their wins. They have the longest active winning streak at home. They don't lose at home no matter what. I feel like that will continue for the most part this season. So I have Georgia at number 7.
Number 8, I have Alabama. Kind of the same things you said. I think Alabama, they have to make it this year because if not, Kalen DeBoer is going to start to get on the hot seat, and it's only his second year. At Alabama, you have to make the playoffs. I don't care what anyone says. 9-3 isn't good enough if you're not making it. It's those programs. It's a blue blood. You have to make the playoffs, and they expect more. But I think Alabama will be fine. Ty Simpson, don't really know a whole lot about him. We'll find out more about him as the season goes on. But there's the same thing as as Georgia. Sorry, they recruit well. They develop players. At the end of the day, they're going to be inevitable. They're going to make the playoffs at some point. So Alabama
Yes.
at 8.
For me at number 8, I have LSU at 8 just because I think week 1 out the gate in Clemson is the worst possible thing for Brian Kelly because that dude in week
Or the
1 is
best.
atrocious. It could be the best.
If they win that game.
Yeah. They win that game, LSU could easily go on a massive run.
team in the country.
But I've got to see it with Brian Kelly, so I'm kind of lowballing them here at number 8. And to be fair, they could somehow miss the playoff because of Brian Kelly at the same time. But they had the number 1 portal class coming into this year. They hit the portal well. They recruit well. I still trust Garrett Nussmeier enough. I think this team's going to be good enough to be in the playoff. So I have them at 8. And they're going to host my number 9 team in round 1 in the Oregon Ducks. Granted, I know Oregon lost Evan Stewart pretty much for the year. They had another wide receiver, Jurion Dickey, get dismissed from the program, who would have stepped up this year for them and been a nice piece as well. But they have to really rely on Dakarian Moore to step up this year. I have faith in Dante Moore to be good. This defense is going to be really good. I think Oregon's going to rely a lot more on their defense this year. They have one of the better defensive ends in Mateo Uiagalelei, the brother of DJ Ukulele, stepping up here. But I do have question marks. I think I'm ranking Oregon a lot lower than some other people would. And you too, I think. But yeah, I think Oregon, I have question marks. They could miss the playoff, and maybe another Big Ten team could fill in that spot. But I have Oregon at 9 going on the road to LSU.
It's fine because I don't have Oregon making the playoffs.
Oh, wow.
Number 9, I have Georgia Tech.
They're at number 9.
My Yellow Jackets. They are going to surprise some people this year.
Okay.
I am putting them on the tier of my Washington pick from 2 years ago. When Washington went to the national championship. Georgia Tech's not making it to the national championship, but they're going to make the playoffs. I think Haynes King is going to really have a really good year for this Georgia Tech team, and their schedule isn't that tough. It's Clemson, they play Clemson, they play Georgia, and in there it's a bunch of wins. It's a
Yeah.
bunch of games that are like kind of eh.
They play Clemson
If they can
at
win
home
one
too.
of those games, though, they will be much higher on this list. But I think that they'll lose both of those games. But I still think that they're going to make the playoffs because 10-2 is going to be. I think 10-2 for an ACC team, especially if they're competitive with Georgia and Clemson. Um, Maybe they do win one. I don't know. It's tough because Clemson and Georgia. If I had to pick one, to be Georgia because it's not at Sanford Stadium, it's in Mercedes Benz, and Georgia's on a down year. Well, a down year for Georgia. If I had to pick one, I think they would beat them. So I have Georgia Tech at 9.
To be fair, they also have Clemson at home in Atlanta too.
Yeah, exactly.
So they have
So
their two best games right in their backyard. Okay, number 10, I've got the Red Raiders of Texas Tech winning the Big 12. They're going to take on the Georgia Bulldogs down at Sanford Stadium in round 1A. I know a lot of people have their doubts because of, it's all NIL funds down there in Texas Tech, and there's a lot of other teams like Arizona State or Kansas State or even an Iowa State who some people think could make the playoff. I'm rolling the dice on Texas Tech.
that's fine. I mean, I think they'll be good. They'll be close. I think they'll be close to make the playoff because I think they lose to my number 10 team, Arizona State. Arizona State, Sam Levitt. They proved a lot of people wrong. Kenny Dillingham. They're going to be good again this year. They're returning a lot.
Yes.
They are losing their best player in Cam Scadaboo, but I have total faith in Arizona State with Dillingham. Dillingham has done a 180 on this program, and I'm really happy for Sun Devils fans because that program was terrible for a while.
Yes.
And now it's complete 180. Now it's one of the brightest futures. So Arizona State at 10. I think they win the Big 12 again.
This is where it gets interesting at number 11 because I think this could be anybody.
Who's your 10?
My 10 is Texas Tech.
Oh, I thought there were 9. Okay.
No, that's 10. Oh, my 11, yeah, it could be anybody because I think it's going to be one of those 9-3 SEC teams or one of those 10-2, 9-3 Big Ten teams. It could be like 6 possible schools here at number 11. But I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid of this one program that I am very high on. And quarterback I'm high on. Maybe not coach necessarily. He still has to prove it. I've got the Florida Gators making the playoff at number 11. I think DJ Lagway is going to prove it this season. I think that Florida is going to sneak one of those games. Look at this 4-game stretch, by the way. This 4-game stretch is absolutely a gauntlet. But the reason why I think Florida over some other schools in the SEC is because their schedule to me is a lot more front-handed than some of the others. The other schedules, they have it all in the back end of their schedule. Florida's schedule starting at week 3 to week 7. Week 8, technically. At LSU. At Miami. Texas at home. At A&M. I think they can win 2 of those games and be just fine. If they win 2 of those games, they do have Georgia still in Jacksonville. They play at Ole Miss later on, and they play Tennessee. I think Florida goes 9-3 with this record. I think they make the playoff. I think they back their way in because I think they could possibly get that Texas game at home. And I think they could get either that LSU or that Miami game. And Miami, I don't understand the Miami ranking. You and I both I don't understand how they're a top 10 team. I just don't see it. I know their defense should be pretty good on the defensive line, but I just don't see it. What, Florida? I've got the Gators. I have full faith in them making the playoff. I really do.
Yeah, Billy Napier's ass. I'd have no. I mean, I think Florida will be fine. I think they'll be 7-5, 8-4. Lagway's solid, but he did. I mean, 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions is not like a godsend. I think people are putting a little bit too much, not too much pressure. Well, yeah, pressure, but too much hype into DJ Lagway. I think he'll be good, but we're going to do another Anthony Richardson situation to where it's all this upside and all this. And
I
while
think
he
it's. I
does
think
show
it's.
some flashes, it turns out to be he's a solid quarterback and nothing more than that. But
I think this one's a little different with Lagway, though. I think he's already shown, like, he's a good passer of the ball. You know what I mean? Like, it's there. You can see it. Like, with Richardson, it was more so the arm talent was there and just his overall athleticism. I think Lagway is just a better pure quarterback, period. He can actually read a defense a little bit.
yeah, find out. Number 11, I have Illinois. I've been saying Illinois. They brought back all this production. I know Brett Bielema, but I think Illinois. They don't have that tough of a schedule. They play Ohio State at home. I think they could. I think Ohio State could lose that game.
They could. Yeah.
They could. Ohio State will lose one, maybe two of Texas, Michigan, and Illinois. And I think that's the game they could lose. I think Illinois is going to be very good this year. They won't make the Big Ten title game because Penn State's just better. But I think that they're going to be 9-3, maybe 10-2. I think that they'll sneak in the playoffs there at 9-3, 10-2, and I think Illinois is they're gonna surprise some people. I think they're gonna be the Indiana of last year. So yeah, and number 12, I wanted to do something more interesting because I feel like we put this team down every year. I have Boise State. They're for the Group of 5 team. I want to do something interesting like Tulane. Or something else, but I think Boise's just the best Group of 5 team. I will say though, a team that has a schedule that's kind of light, that plays in a conference that isn't great, that has 2 Power 4 games against not amazing schools. Well, one against a Power 4, one against a Pac-12.
Pac-2. Pac-2.
Pac-2.
You got to call it the right thing. It's Pac-2.
Pac-2. If everything works in Toledo's favor, you never know, man.
You never know. It is there.
Know because Toledo's bringing back a good amount. They did lose Darius Alexander, but I'm not saying this team is as good as the team from 2 years ago when they lost in the championship to Miami, but there might be a tier under it. And the Group of 5, if they don't have an amazing year this year, if Toledo goes 11-1, wins the MAC 12-1, maybe they got a shot because Kentucky is not very good. And while Washington State is a solid team, they're not amazing either. Toledo doesn't have a game in there where you can write a loss definitively. Like, yes, they will 100% lose this game. They don't. So I know it's a little biased. I don't care. If everything goes their way, if Tucker Gleason steps up and has a really good year, you never know. I will say, though, their running game has to be a hell of a lot better than it is last year because Connor Wallenczak is not the answer. And
Chip Trainum.
Stewart was not used as much as he should have been.
Chip Trainum. There you go. Chip Trainum. They're very high on
him for that game against Notre Dame. I'll tell you that.
Yes, absolutely. They're very high on Kenji Christian as well. He's a North Carolina A&T transfer. Watch that film. I'm just letting you know. Kenji Christian could be a very good guy for that running back room at Toledo. Connor Wallenczak is very good for like red zone packages. I feel like a lot more. You could utilize him more in the red zone power back kind of thing. Maybe he's gotten faster in the offseason here as well. But you're right. Toledo could be a sneaky team, 100% for that 12 spot, if everything goes right for them this year and they do
want to be interesting and not just choose Boise State like everybody else.
Well, see, here's the beauty.
I did choose Boise State, but
I'm not picking Boise State. I'm actually picking a different team from their conference because I think that this head coach in year 1 is going to prove it and turn this program around. I think UNLV is going to be.
Dan Mullen.
I think Dan Mullen and UNLV are going to make the playoff. I think they're going to be the best Group of 5 team this year. I'm not buying. It's not Alex Orji who's going to be their starter. I'm just telling you, it's not that. It's going to be someone else. But I forgot the kid's name. But I think UNLV will be the best. I wanted to be different. I didn't want it to be Boise, and I like Boise, but I can't think of any other school outside. Maybe Navy. Navy could be a sneaky one this year, but outside of Navy, I don't know. I think UNLV is just going to be that team. Or Toledo.
Who knows, man? I think that the thing about it is the group of 5 is so wide open, but there is one obvious answer with Boise State. But how much did they lose from Ashton Genty is what we'll find out. They lost a lot.
Exactly.
But I don't think the group of 5 is that great. I think they're just
there
the
isn't.
best that's left over.
There isn't like a clear cut team this year that really stands out on paper that's like, oh yeah, this is the best one to watch out for that 12 spot. There isn't. There isn't a clear one. This is much more of a guessing game this year than it was last year, I think. And even then, last year, we were both wrong because we didn't know about the lore of Ashton Genty would have continued to happen. Because you had Miami of Ohio last year, and I had Memphis. Yikes. Memphis could be good. That's the thing. Memphis feels like one of those teams that should be good, and they always end up like 8-4 or 9-3.
Pick last year, weren't they? Didn't you pick Memphis?
I picked Memphis. Yeah, I had Memphis making it. And that's the problem. Memphis, like I said, they're one of those teams that every single year feels like they should be much better than they are, and really should be in a Power 5 or Power 4 conference. So used to say Power 5. What a world we live in now.
I know.
But they should be much better than they are, and they always go 9-3, 8-4, and they're basically the Texas A&M of the group of 5. That's the best way I'd put it. That's Memphis. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode here of the Scoop and Score Football Show. Keep on tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that push notification bell to stay up to date on all new videos. We'll be back next week with another video, or maybe 2. We'll have to see. All right. Take care, everybody. Peace out.